So this video we must be talking about why nobody as a whole just takes Formula E as seriously. Basically with Formula E, because like of course it's Formula 1, which is basically a 70-year-old sport, which is literally just absolutely fucking insane. Like, because like with Formula 1, right, it had evolution, it had powerful cars, powerful engines, and on top of this, it had really good drivers. And then with Formula E, it was starting around 2014, where people realized, oh yeah, the climate's kind of getting fucked, you know, so pretty much everyone's trying to focus more on electric cars. So Formula or the FIA decided to go, alright, let's just make a whole new league that's based around electric cars, and then so they decided to spring up Formula E. It's like Formula 1, but basically if everything was electrified, or basically if they decided to rush the electrification process, because we know that damn well F1 will slowly turn into Formula E cars, but they're going to try to do it in a way where that they'll still retain the same amount of power, which is quite stupid to be honest, because if you think about it, the modern cars of today are pretty much going to be, in my opinion, a lot more slower and a lot less intimidating compared to the cars of the past, where basically they didn't really care about climate regulations or the amount of gases that cars produce. They didn't really give a fuck about that. They gave a fuck about power, and they gave a fuck about how far the limits are for the cars. And so in that case, they mostly made it as powerful as possible, while also trying to stay inside the rule boundaries, of course, because they don't want to make it a little bit too powerful and break the rules. Because you know the fact that, well, if you make it a little bit too powerful, you're gonna end up fucking crashing it, because the tracks ain't adjusted towards modern F1 cars, and in fact, right, are pretty much adjusted towards older F1 cars. So pretty much we have rules in place just so that we can make sure that the cars can just still drive on the track and not crash every single fucking time. So yeah, it's not only if because like it's a new sport, but it's also because like Germany started off with basically switching out Formula E cars, because basically the first ever generation was just simply, alright, you have to drive in and then switch cars, because basically first of all the batteries didn't have enough juice in order to basically last the whole race, and two, right, charging would take extremely long periods of time, to the point where that honestly is much more preferred that just to switch out the cars. And so right, with of course Formula E, there'll be basically around average of 4 cars, 2 cars per driver, which is extremely expensive compared to F1. But F1 is a little bit more expensive, as all the tech in F1 cars are a lot more expensive, a lot more advanced, and on top of this, a lot more better than of course Formula E cars, which are much more easy to produce, because honestly they're just miniaturized go-karts but bigger as a whole. Because that's the only reason why people don't take it seriously, it's because when people just see it as like pretty much a humongous go-kart, because honestly I just see them as like electric go-karts, but like if they were expanded, or basically Formula F3 or F2 cars, but pretty much, you know, turning to electrified Formula cars, which goes on to pretty much say right, that is kind of similar in its own space with of course F1 Academy, which you may think where both men and women will be able to compete on a large scale, which is, yeah, nah, that is such a false statement. Like, why the hell would I say such a false statement like that? It's of course for women, because apparently women need their own section, which is quite understandable, because of course women can't handle certain G-forces unlike men, so of course gonna have a new league. But however, this league is like F2, but the main thing, right, is that there's not really, because especially for a woman, you don't know where to advance from F1 Academy. It's kind of as if you get to F1 Academy and then you're stuck, and then you be in the pit of the joke, right, that pretty much F1 Academy is not taking it seriously. Which, by the way, right, is not taken seriously, because it's literally just F2, but worse, because you know, you have a female at the wheel of the fucking wheel, which is probably gonna stop at every single fucking red light, because they've been told out by their driving instructor. So yeah, it's all in that, but also about celebrities as a whole, because celebrities have of course been a movement in, especially for F1, Formula E, like all other types of motorsports. But what makes Formula E separate is that they pretty much put celebrities in the actual cars themselves. You may be thinking that this is a good way in order to basically promote it, because of course the celebrity has fun in the cars, and on top of this they're indirectly promoting it on their YouTube channel, on your YouTube channel if you run the League of Formula E. But in reality, right, because since Mr. Beast crashed his fucking car in the Formula E session, it just shows right that there's absolutely no point whatsoever of literally putting celebrities in these cars, because first of all, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So pretty much what to do is no prior training whatsoever to pretty much no prior training. Which, by the way, right, they need prior training, because honestly, you can't just put up some random bloke in a car and then just hope to God that they know how to drive it, because Mr. Beast puts it on a prime example where basically you cannot just put a random guy off the streets into a Formula E car and expect him to drive it as well. It's kind of like MBS, who's basically the FIA president, who basically did the same in his F1 car, where he's promoted it across the Middle East, where he's had to in fact put his pedal to the metal and just ended up spinning out, crashing into a nearby barrier, just like Mr. Beast, where he just spun out and also crashed into a nearby barrier. Pretty much these people are the fucking same, to be honest, from what I care. But yeah, and on top of this, they decided to promote it even more with Formula Evo sessions, where they're basically now including like people like Kari Lame, who basically just does the hand signals just to show you like common sense. There's also Vic, which is pretty much in rich Indian. There's of course many other people, because you even can look through their pretty much Instagram page, because it's just filled with these people like Max Klemenko, who basically is just a guy who talks about careers as a whole. Which you really think, right, that this guy will be competent enough to basically be racing for Formula? Like, it's just stupid as a whole, because I don't really see any point in it, and people don't take it as seriously because they just think it's filled with celebrities, which is, they kind of restated their old, what is it, the old like fucking stereotypes with basically having more and more celebrities, because they think, because with the Formula 1, of course they have celebrities, but they do it in a way that they just give them tickets just to watch the show, instead of like, alright, give them a helmet, let them hop into an F1 car and just hopefully just don't crash. If they just did the same thing as what they did in Formula 1, I feel as if it could have been a lot more better. Like, for example, like have them wave the flag or something, that would have been a lot more better. But they don't. Instead, they decide to hop them into Formula E cars, and it shows why that is not taken as seriously, because they just see why that Formula E cars are safe enough just so that we can have celebrities just to hop in and just drive about. Unlike in F1, where no celebrities are in fact allowed in order to basically drive the car, because the car is not even a lot more powerful, but also potentially a lot more dangerous due to the fact that honestly there's a lot less safety features. Like, for example, the airbag is not in the car whatsoever, but you have seatbelts and all that, right? And on top of this, these people could just easily crash the car. And on top of this, there's a lot of what is it, Max, but also Coblame, Brownie, like, you have like Emily Hartford, like, you have all these other people, and on top of this, you have more people like Willany. Yes, fucking Willany, literally hopping inside the fucking Formula E car, just driving it all about. Just show that that is absolutely fucking insane, because trust me, it just doesn't really make any sense. And on top of this, it just hosted this in fucking general places, so yeah, it's just not really that good. And honestly, it just shows like that pretty much nobody takes it seriously, because why would you take this thing as seriously as you should? Because honestly, it's just that Jeremy, like, well, to go sum up, because we're gonna end it right here. It's pretty much Formula E doesn't take it seriously, because first of all, it's an upcoming sport, which basically starts off with Gen 1 cars, which kind of last a whole session, so you have to in fact switch out vehicles midway through the race, which if they didn't have that case and had actual batteries that lasted the whole entire race, could have been something. It could have been a potential. Yeah, it could be the potential. Number 2, allow celebrity to drive the car. Even though this does seem like a bad thing to the celebrity itself, but to people who perceive the sport, they don't take it as seriously, because the cars are slow enough in order to simply allow celebrities to drive safely enough onto the track itself. And of course, the number 3 spot, of course, crashes, because even though all of the motorsports have crashes, you have F1 that shows the meatiness and the manliness of each crash, while basically Formula E just shows the absolute incompetence of each crash. It's kind of like if you watch Formula E and then see the crashes, it's kind of as if you watch it F2 or F3 or F4, what I care, just with all the crashes and such. It's just that, but instead of Formula E. Because all the crashes I've seen in Formula E so far have been not only very avoidable, but also if they used any common sense whatsoever, they could have in fact avoided it. Which, by the way, right, they haven't used any common sense whatsoever. No common sense has pretty much been used in the timings of pretty much the whole a whole Formula E season since 2014, when there has ever been a crash that hasn't been unavoidable. That's what I have to say, really. Nobody takes seriously because honestly, why the fuck would you take Formula E seriously when they take the Need Speed Tokyo Drift guy and just tell him just to promote it? Yeah, that's everything I have to say, to be honest. So, yeah, see ya.